You're listening to How I Met Your Monster, a podcast that explores the introductions to your favorite movie monsters. My name's Zach.
I'm Danny.
And I'm Casey.
And together we dive into the world of horror to find out how filmmakers have introduced us to our favorite monsters time and time again. This is How I Met Your Monster.
Boss, you opened it. We came.
I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left.
Explorers in the further regions of experience. Demons to some, angels to others.
Call you Meatloaf! Surprise, Sydney.
Thank you for joining us for the first episode of How I Met Your Monster in 2023. This is going to be a good year.
It is going to be a good
Because first of all, like it's going to be like is that like tires? Goodyear tires?
Yeah.
Yep. I know there's a blimp.
Yeah. This is going to be a year full of tires.
It's going to be, this year is going to be so rubber. Oh my God.
Like
what if,
really good all season tires.
Yeah. Can we just that'll be our word. It'll be like, this year's going to be blimp. Like, it's going to be so blimp.
Ew.
Well, no, if we do it like, if you've ever seen Disturbing Behavior, Katie Holmes's character always says razor. We can just say rubber.
Oh, no.
No.
Like,
That's
that's
terrible.
rubber, bro.
It's gonna be rubber.
That's rubber.
Yeah, that's really rubber.
This party's going to be so rubber.
Blimp reminds me of the word blumpkin. Do you guys know what a blumpkin is?
Oh, yeah.
Blumpkin. What's that?
It's when someone sucks on your penis while you're pooping.
Yep.
No. No. Oh, God.
This is the year of the... I don't even want to say the word.
But it's such a fun word. Blumpkin.
Words without context can be fun.
Since we're talking about horrible, horrible things, really quickly, let's talk about the Evil Dead Rise trailer. That trailer was really gross.
Yeah.
It was great.
I thought
Can't
you would
wait.
say that.
Love everything about it.
It does look really good.
I winced twice.
The whole thing about like it being in a skyscraper,
Yeah.
like that was like the whole thing. I didn't really get that vibe. I thought it was going to be a different kind of vibe.
That's so funny you said that. I thought that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks cool,
so-
and I'm sure there might be some stuff, they might play into that, but I thought it was going to be more of a focal point.
Yeah.
Oh, more of a focal. Well, maybe it is, just not in the trailer.
Yeah, very well. Maybe.
That's funny you say that too, because I was thinking you do get like a pretty good idea of like what this movie is. It's like these kids and the sister, I guess, versus the mother who's turned into a deadite. But speaking of the Evil Dead 2013 movie, that one shows a lot in the trailer, a lot of gore, a lot of like scenes, a lot of like important scenes from the movie, but it goes in a very different direction in terms of like who the main character is. So I wonder if there is a little bit of, subverting.
Trying to psych us out again.
Yeah. Like, did we just watch is that like the first 20 minutes? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it goes somewhere else.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just speculation.
Yeah. You don't really know what to believe with trailers anymore. I remember being pissed about the Halloween trailer 2018 when it came out, because you see that who's the cop? The guy from Armageddon and Gone in 60 Seconds.
Yeah.
But anyways, you see him and like Michael Myers like comes up behind him with like a knife and you're like, oh, great, he's going to get killed. But they just like did that for the trailer and it's not in the movie. And so it kind of like throws you for a loop.
That I don't like.
Bastards.
Which just a couple weeks ago, this is interesting that we're talking about this. Just a few weeks ago, a federal judge ruled that movie studios can be sued for false advertising if they release deceptive movie trailers.
What? That is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Does that mean that we're going to get spoilers in our trailers now?
The person who cut the Red Eye trailer was like, no.
Yeah.
It like plays out.
Well,
like a
let's see
rom-com.
if they can go backwards.
Oh, and Zach, it's Will Patton. We were
Thank
thinking
you,
of.
Will Patton.
I think that's a bunch of bullshit. That's part of the fun.
I'm not totally opposed to that. I don't mind subverting expectations, but lying. I think there's a fine line between what constitutes as a lie.
That's all relative, though.
That's
When
Well,
it comes
okay.
to this kind of thing, you're not hurting anybody.
well.
You know what I
Remember,
mean?
you know what comes to mind is, do you remember when one of the I think it was Avengers. No, which one was Infinity War, right?
Okay. Yeah.
There's that
That is
scene-
one of them.
That scene where they're all like running through the jungle. It's like all the Avengers basically together, like storming the castle. But that's not even in. Not only is that not in the movie, some of those characters aren't even present in that scene. So it's like, it was cool to look at, but then it's like, what are you promoting? That's not so much a like throwing you off to like be interesting.
but-
That's just a fake.
But you think that a studio should get like it's a crime?
I don't think it's a crime, but I think you should be held accountable for lying to your audience if you're selling a product.
I just think it's way too subjective.
I think there's a lot of gray area though.
Interestingly enough, this all came about because of the movie Yesterday about the guy
Oh, the Beatles?
about the Beatles song,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Two gentlemen, Connor Wolf, 38 of Maryland, and Peter Rosa, 44 of San Diego, California, filed a federal class action lawsuit because they each rented Yesterday for $3.99 specifically to see, tell me if I'm wrong, Ana de Armas.
Ana de Armas.
Ana de
Yeah.
Armas.
She's in what's it called? Knives Out.
But anyways, I guess she was in the trailer and then she was cut out of the movie. And so they rented this movie wanting to see her and she wasn't in it. And so they filed a fucking lawsuit. And
can you believe though, like, okay, $4 and 2 hours of your life, and now you're gonna spend how much more money and time trying to sue?
Casey, I agree with you on that. That whole lawsuit is ridiculous. That's stupid because characters or actors can be cut from a movie. That's not a lie. That could have just been a change, after the filming and after the marketing. Even they could have just like decided to release it a certain way. Yeah, that's
well, it is strange because when I was talking about Halloween, like I was pissed when I saw the trailer because I thought it was spoiled. Then I was happy when I watched the movie because it was different. So I was then in hindsight, I was glad that they tricked me. But that is just in the case.
But now you're going to sue their asses.
Well, no, that was just a case.
Zach, are you those two guys? And is Yesterday Halloween?
My body splits apart and like these guys come out, like, two heads.
Oh my God.
No, but like, what if it was something like that's a situation that ultimately benefited me. But what if it was something that I was really looking forward to? I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And then it wasn't in the movie. In which case, I would just watch the trailer again and enjoy it. But
yeah, I'm usually let down by movies anyway because I'm a picky bitch. So I think that the Evil Dead remake from, what was it, like 2009, I think was when the first one was. Oh, really? That late? Oh my gosh.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. 2013. Yeah.
But I think that's probably like the best horror remake that's been done.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
Which I guess you could argue maybe isn't a remake. I feel like it could just be a continuation. It has a lot of it could just be new people going to the cabin. But like they have the Ash's car is there and everything. And so there's a lot of little Easter eggs.
Yeah,
it could be Easter eggs, I guess, but it could also just be a sequel.
Right.
But I was surprised. I guess I just wasn't expecting to see so many aesthetic similarities from that movie in Evil Dead Rise. Like the way the Deadites look, the gore, which I guess makes sense. I thought they were just kind of rebooting everything, but this is a sequel, I guess.
Sure.
We all agree.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
So there is, in the trailer, there is some points where they're like at a lake in the woods. So maybe there is like a cabin element to it. at some point, maybe like in the prologue or something.
Yeah. I mean, the book had to have gotten there somehow, so I'm sure we'll see some kind of journey.
Did you see the teeth? Like the book had teeth?
Yeah. That was
like
cool.
it was like the monster book in Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Battle Royale. The Monster Book of Monsters versus the Necronomicon. Who wins?
Oh.
Necronomicon.
Yeah, Necronomicon.
But the book could physically eat the Necronomicon.
Well, so can this Necronomicon. Which one are we talking about?
Fair.
Are we talking about the original Evil Dead Necronomicon? Or, you have to be more specific.
That's fair. On IMDb, and this could be, someone could probably debunk this if this information is elsewhere, but on IMDb, 3 of the main characters are not listed with their character names, though everyone else is.
Oh.
So that
seems
cool.
cool.
Like we're getting there's some little mystery.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And if they do not pay off that secret, I'm suing them for false marketing.
Sue them.
Let's follow
Anybody
that
else
trend.
can.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's take advantage of the broken system.
Anyway, so I'm really sorry, but I'm really excited for a lot more movies that are coming out this year.
Me too.
It's going to be a good year.
It is going to be a good year. Do you know
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man!
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
Oh, okay. We did that in the wrong order. That's okay.
That's okay.
That was my fault.
What are you guys most excited for?
Oh, okay. Did you guys watch the trailer for The Price We Pay?
Mm-mm.
No. Is that the movie that everyone is talking about that is just severely grotesque and disturbing?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Stephen
why I avoided
Dorff
it.
and Emil Hirsch.
Oh, Emil, you used to be in a big Emil Hirsch fan.
I know. I still am. I'd still fuck him. So that movie looks good. 65. That like fun. Sci-fi horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Obviously Scream. Megan, I'm not sure about.
The reviews are just coming in now. People seem to like it.
I'm scared of artificial intelligence, but I feel like it might just be a little I don't know. I don't know. But then there's also Cocaine Bear, which I will be scared of.
Oh my gosh, yes. But dude, Megan, that's like the new Child's Play probably, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but very similar to the remake, the 2019 one.
Yeah, because Child's Play is about, the voodoo and the why can't I think of his name? Charles Lee Ray?
Yeah, Brad Dourif.
It's about him being the spirit of Chucky. And I guess about Chucky.
Yeah, me too. I guess what I was kind of getting at is kind of like Megan is like the Child's Play of this generation, I guess, where it's not a remake of Child's Play, but it's like its own thing. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of like that. This is the killer doll movie of this time. I mean, I'm excited.
I don't know. Just the trailer doesn't like creep me out or anything. But the movie.
I got the impression that Megan is going to be more of like a funhouse horror kind of thing, where it's not as scary as it is just fun to watch in a group with like fun scenes and good kills.
Perhaps.
Perhaps. I just did a list on Letterboxd of my top 25 movies I'm looking forward to. Not that 25. Much horror, but I've got a few horror. But you continue. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's okay. Apparently, we're getting an Exorcist sequel.
Mm-hmm. You have 3 movies coming out
from David Gordon Green, who did Halloween.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then the Salem Slot remake.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Which was supposed to have come out last summer or last fall.
Yeah.
The new Saw movie, is that supposed to come out this year or next year?
Okay. Saw 10.
Saw 10.
Yeah.
Dear Lord. Sawton.
I have to say, I was always very anti-Saw, and I finally watched all the movies. They're fun.
They are. I mean, there is nothing will ever be like the first Saw movie. Yeah. I'm sure we've talked about it before, but that moment when he gets up off the floor, I remember screaming because I was just so surprised.
Yeah.
And infuriated.
Funny enough,
even though it's cool,
my favorite Saw movie is the one that came out fairly recently, like a few years ago, called Jigsaw.
Yeah.
It It was pretty good.
I haven't watched that.
I
think I've watched up to like
pleasantly
4 or 5.
surprised. Not perfect,
Okay.
but especially if you're watching all the sequels and you do see like a very low budget in some of them. This one feels shinier and more polished and a little bit more refined, I guess. It's really good.
Well, now I have to watch all the sequels because I was just thinking about how much fun, I guess it was like a roller coaster of fun. Sometimes I didn't have fun when I was watching all the Amityville movies.
Oh yeah.
It was like there was some gems in there which were good. But like you had to sit through some duds too. But that was fun though, and so like maybe watching all the Saw would be good.
Your favorite Amityville is
4.
It's About Time. Was that the one you like?
That one was good.
With the clock.
But I liked that one was good. I liked Dollhouse.
I like Dollhouse.
That was good.
Didn't love the ending of Dollhouse. I like the premise.
Although there is a weird bit of incest in part 2. I really enjoy part 2. That was really good.
I would argue there was a lot of incest in that.
Yeah. That's
not
true.
unlike the movie we're talking about today, which is like blatant, overt, like in your face, proud. You don't see proud incest.
Guys,
usually you see like reluctant incest in movies. This is
if he was your brother.
That's fair.
Come on. Come on, guys.
So
let's be real here.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I did read that Benedict Cumberbatch and Emma Stone were originally cast as those two.
I remember them talking
could see
about that. Yeah.
Maybe Emma Stone was the main character and not Lucille. I'm not sure.
That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Benedict Cumberbatch was originally cast as the male lead instead of Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
But when I was watching this and Tom Hiddleston came on, I was thinking, what's that guy's name? I said, that's not Benedict Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
And then I found out that
he's doing a great impression of Benedict Cumberbatch. I love Tom Hiddleston.
Well, you guys know that all British actors are Benedict Cumberbatch, right?
I mean,
okay.
yeah, but
of course.
This just took me by surprise because
totally. I mean, I understand.
His name's Tom, even though he is Benedict Cumberbatch. But anyways, I'm looking forward to talking about Crimson Peak because this was a first watch for me and I really enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad. I was afraid that you weren't going to like it.
Me too.
Oh,
I don't know. I wasn't afraid, but I had a feeling
I don't know.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I thought that you wouldn't.
No, I did like it. So I want to talk about it. But first, I want to know what you guys watched. Give me your best mini reviews.
Okay. I'll go first real quick. I watched Pearl.
So,
yeah, I...
First time or second time?
Yes. That was the first time.
Oh, I thought you had seen it.
Yeah, no, we had an X episode and we talked all this about Pearl and everyone was so excited. And then I was the only one that went to see it.
Well, there was a reason that I
don't know what
couldn't go
happened
see
to you
it.
guys.
I don't remember what it was. There was a reason I couldn't go see it, but I did really like it. I love Mia Goth.
Different, isn't it?
Different. Yeah.
Definitely different than X. Yeah.
But still really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it when she freaks out. It's good stuff. I don't want to say too much because I know Danny hasn't seen it, but.
See, I didn't think when I went into it, I didn't realize how different from X it was going to be.
Yeah.
Which ultimately I liked that it did that, but it's
because it's not very often that you get a movie that's in the same universe that's completely different.
Yeah, that's a great point.
But you're obviously still able to tell that it's part of that world.
Yeah. Danny, what about you?
I saw Pearl.
Oh, did you?
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so?
I was waiting for the big reveal. Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Mia Goth was great. It's funny, what I couldn't help, because I heard so many people talking about Pearl before I watched it, and there was a lot of, which one do you like more? So I couldn't help but, while I was watching it, I was constantly comparing it to X. So I'm still like trying to decide which one I liked more. And I like them both equally. I think they both delivered on their promise. And that is the best, I don't know.
That's true.
Compliment, I guess I can give them. It was really good, really disturbing, really dark.
Dude, like her monologue at the table towards the end of the movie. where the
Oh,
camera
yeah.
stays on her for like 6 minutes or something, like doesn't cut away.
You know, the thing with Pearl is, in that scene specifically, the thing that I really liked about it was because you're watching it, I guess, from her perspective, you can't help but kind of, relate to her in a way. You're like in her shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So when she's confessing to this horrible thing, it's almost like you're confessing to this horrible thing. So when you see her, like, you can see her kind of getting lost in her head and then sort of realize that she just gave away the fact that she killed people. And she's like looking at the person, and you can see her sort of like mentally like computing like, oh, what do I do? But I'm also not like mentally here enough to sort of, there's just so many levels to it. It makes it so complicated where she's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. But what I just said was criminal and like insane. So to see that processing was, I think, scarier than like the kills themselves. I thought that really like bothered me, like put a pit in my stomach.
I really liked that it showed that so in X, she like goes through and she's telling Mia Goth, like, you remind me of myself when I was young. I was a dancer, blah, blah, blah. But she never actually was anything.
Oh, that's a great point.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, she has like those delusions of grandeur. And you can see them playing out in her memory of like how she sees herself.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man, so that's a good observation, Casey.
Yeah.
I like that.
So how do you guys think the third one, Maxine, is going to play out?
I don't know. Is it going to be,
because it's supposed to be a sequel set in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe she got a taste, right? I don't know.
So it's Maxine, she goes to Los Angeles, to Hollywood, and she's working in the porn industry in the 80s.
So I wonder if they're going to still have her as like the quote unquote final girl, or is she going to like make a sea change and then become a killer and then kind of tie it back to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Well, yeah,
because then she
like,
would be even more like Pearl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because Pearl was basically the villain in both movies. And so who's the villain in this next one?
Yeah.
But what would be kind of cool, X was very much like a 70s slasher movie. And then Pearl was more so like character study, kind of like taking back
psychological,
pulling back on the slasher bit. What if the third one went like even farther and like took it out of the horror genre completely?
It's just a porno.
But I want
it was
to be
just
horror.
like maybe a little bit of thriller, but like just like a heavy drama. And so that'd be a cool trilogy. It's
funny you say that because even though I love the horror elements in Pearl, there was part of me that felt I almost was like taken out of the movie every time she killed. Not necessarily every time she killed someone, but every time they showed the kills, because I thought that kind of just like lingering on her like mental breakdown was so much more captivating and creepy and overwhelming.
You just felt like they were unnecessary.
Yeah, like you almost didn't need, like an X, I feel like it's so much of the story and the beats and the themes are sort of predicated on paying off, because it's all about like,
pleasure and sex.
Like sex. Yeah, like it's the buildup and the what's the word I'm looking for?
Blumpkin.
The Blumpkin, yeah. I don't want to say
the climax.
Climax, thank you. It's all about like the buildup and the climax.
In both senses of the word.
Yeah. Whereas, so like that fits, but I felt, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. Like Pearl is a horror movie. Like it's a slasher in some sense. So you have to have that. But if you had removed that, I think it would have been more, if not, or just as, if not more effective, which is a testament to, good storytelling and obviously Mia Goth's just ridiculously good performance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if Maxine is not horror at all, like fuck it. I trust Ty.
Yeah.
That's true.
Danny, what else did you watch?
I rewatched Labyrinth, which isn't horror, but
oh, cool.
It's kind of horror-y. Labyrinth, creepy. And then I watched Gremlins as like really one of my only like Christmas horror movies.
Listen, I'm sorry. I watched something else that was very important.
What?
Violent Night. We haven't recorded since I watched it, have we?
Oh, Violent
I don't think
Night.
so.
It is my favorite Christmas movie ever.
It's so good.
Really?
It is so good.
Zach, have you seen it?
Oh my
not
god.
yet.
It is so good. It is I don't even know what
Cody
else
and
to
I
say
turned to
about
each
it.
other after it. We were like, I'm like excited to watch it next year as like an annual
No, me
Christmas
too.
movie.
I almost because
Nice.
I watched it like 5 days before Christmas. I almost watched it again on Christmas.
It's so good.
It's so good. It's so much fun. And
It walks the line so perfectly, like the balance in terms of like kind of not gross out humor, but sort of immature humor, you know, like
right.
But then it also is very sweet. It's like it's a sweet Christmas movie.
It is very sweet. But I think parts of the humor thing come from like it's so satirical in the way that like it makes fun of regular Christmas movies too. And then like Santa is real in that movie, but it's a fucking crazy action horror. Like it's fucking wild. It's so good.
Well, are you guys ready to meet the monster of Crimson Peak?
Yeah,
Sure.
let's jump in that carriage and head on over to Allerdale Hall and meet some monsters.
Let's do it. Listen, I'm so obsessed with Gothic Victorian architecture that after I watched this movie, I probably spent about 2 hours on my phone just looking at it and then looking at houses that were for sale and thinking, oh, what could I do to this house to make it look like a fucking Gothic Victorian castle?
Is this our first Gothic horror movie?
I think.
I think so. Yeah.
I literally have a list of Gothic horror movies right here.
List some of them, Danny.
I'll list them all. Some of them aren't Gothic traditionally.
Well,
but
list
they
them
are
all.
a lot of them are just movies that I'm watching to inspire me.
Sure.
Some of them I don't even like. Some are just more like aesthetics.
Okay. So Danny's convoluted list.
Yeah. The Changeling, The Wolfman, Dracula, Sleepy Hollow, Sweeney Todd, The Pale Blue Eye, which isn't even out yet, Crimson Peak, From Hell, Women in Black, Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, The Innocents, Black Sunday, The Spiral Staircase, The Skeleton Key, The Others, The Uninvited, The Mask of Red Death, House of Usher, The Haunting, Rebecca, and Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
We did Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, we did do Sleepy Hollow.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
We did.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and we did Dracula.
Yes.
Bram Stoker's.
Bram
I wasn't there for
Stoker's.
that, but yeah.
So it's interesting that Black Sunday is on your list because when he made Crimson Peak, apparently he was kind of paying like homage a little bit to, or at least in the aesthetic of it all, to Mario Bava's movies. And
I can see that.
Black Sunday being one of those. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I noticed too little, and I'm sure there's more, but a lot of Changeling vibes. Like
dude,
down to the red ball.
yes, and the wheelchair, of course.
Wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just like the way this is very common in ghost stories, but the way the ghosts communicate with Edith is very much like they're calling out for like, you know, to notice a crime that has happened.
Yeah.
So I love that. Changeling is one of my faves. So
Yeah. I even noticed like you can't have a ghost story without a red ball bouncing in from off screen
so
somewhere. But yeah, definitely the that wheelchair and like they linger on it for a minute and I was like, oh my God, that's the Changeling right there.
And it's funny because it comes after the red ball reveal. So it kind of plants the seed in your head of like, oh, Changeling. And then all of a sudden they see it and you're like, there it is. You're just being so like on the nose.
But before we get into the movie, let's talk about the monsters of this movie, the ghosts, which,
Perfection.
you know, we get into the movie and the monsters are actually somebody else. But
Yeah, so I called this a ghost story, but I didn't want to tell you that it is just a movie with ghosts in it because
sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's good because I thought the ghosts were going to be the bad guys.
Oh, did you? Oh, fun. But it's funny because Guillermo del Toro almost not all of his stories, but in a lot of cases, the quote unquote monster or creature or supernatural being is usually sort of the setup to the reveal of the humans being the real monsters.
Yeah. Especially in Mimic.
Totally. Mimic, the giant cockroach monsters they're the heroes.
Yeah.
I love Mimic. Oh, it's so good.
You could argue that they are just
the
humans
people
created
that are genetically
them.
modifying. Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
they're the monsters.
We created them.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
And who are they becoming if not man?
That's see?
The biggest monster of all.
I love Mimic.
That's right.
Except for the giant
I
cockroaches.
love the ghosts in this movie. I think that if there ever was a ghost in a movie, it should always just look like this.
I agree.
Yeah, so the ghosts were all I don't know if Doug Jones played them all or there was is there only one ghost?
There's two. No,
there's a few.
Well, there's Edith's mom, there's their mom, like oh my god, Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah. Is she the one with the axe
Lucille.
in the head?
Yeah.
Or not the axe, but the cleaver?
Yeah. Because that's how they killed her. And then there's one that crawls out of the floor. Yeah, there's a few because there's like the people that they killed to take their money and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. But yes, I think Doug Jones was all
and there's the baby.
Yeah.
The newborn baby.
Jesus Christ, I need to watch this again. I don't remember a lot of that.
I have to say, the second time, this was the second time I watched it, and I had liked it the first time, but I really liked it the second time.
Yeah, I've probably watched this like 6 or 7 times.
Oh, damn.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, I love this movie. Yeah.
Well, now I see why you recommended it.
Yeah, I love it. I like I said, the ghosts. It just because a lot of times I get very turned off by, creatures. We've talked about this before, but like they're not, But the ghosts, how they're, I don't know, they're solid where they need to be solid, and then they're wispy,
Yeah. Yeah, so they were all like if they were all Doug Jones, even if they weren't, they were all actors in full prosthetics. And then they just added CG to it to kind of amplify certain areas. And I thought that was really cool. And it was all done by MPC Visual Effects, which is
not
moving picture company.
MPC.
MPC. They did Shape of Water. They did his new movie Pinocchio. They did Nope, 1917, a whole bunch of other stuff. So they're good at visual effects. Stuff. They are the real deal.
Now, have you guys seen Del Toro's other movie, his other ghost story, The Devil's Backbone?
No, I have not. It's been on my list for years, and I just haven't.
So I won't spoil anything, but all I will say is that the rules of like the mechanics of the ghost are the same in that one, where like how you die is sort of how you are as a ghost.
He also that blood too of the ghosts.
Yeah, with the
comes out of their heads. Same in The Devil's Backbone too.
That's what I love about the ghosts too. That he has, they kind of play by their own rules. Where, like you said, like they almost are physical. Like she even kind of touches him at the end, but then can't touch him.
Yeah,
there's really no like they kind of are on their own. Like,
well, it's kind of cool that like if you say like the ghost and the Devil's Backbone are similar, where it's like he's got his own set of rules on how ghosts are, and it's not just for Crimson Peak or it's not just for Devil's Backbone. It's like any story he could do all these kinds of different stories, but no matter what, he's like, this is how ghosts are,
which I love.
Which is that's cool.
I mean, the Devil's Backbone and Crimson Peak could be in the same universe, just in
totally
different parts.
100%.
Yeah, because that takes place. No reason why what war does that take place during? I can't remember.
The Spanish Civil War, 1939.
Yeah, 1939. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and this was like 50 years earlier in England.
Which is great because Devil's Backbone is sort of like the ghost alternative to, because he does like, I feel like he's really known for his creature work. So it's like the ghost alternative to Pan's Labyrinth.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure if it's the same war. Maybe it is.
Oh yeah.
But it's kind of the same general idea of like a young kid who's sort of dealing with the war, but then within the war, there's these supernatural elements creeping through.
Very good point. Yeah.
Which is why Gothic horror is so perfect for Del Toro. He likes to play with the idea of like the way that supernatural kind of creeps into kind of like overpowered by the horrors of the human element. Like the human element ends up being the more disturbing part of it. You know, a lot of Gothic literature, you can play, you know, you're sort of, the idea is you're being introduced to supernatural elements only to find out that it's actually something you can, you know, explain in a more grounded way, like something that is based within our reality. So I think it's kind of a perfect setting for him because then he can sort of dip his toes into both. It is the human element, but then it's like, but there's still going to be ghosts. Like I'm still going to play with that because I don't think he's ever done a non-supernatural story. I mean, you could argue Shape of Water is technically not supernatural because the creature is just a creature that we just don't know of. Even then, it's like it's still a creature.
Yeah, I mean, even Pinocchio is a supernatural story.
The part in this movie where like her ghost mom is like she's about to open the door and then the door opens by itself. I've had that happen to me.
Really?
What?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
That's a great intro to this question. Do we all believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's really weird because as an atheist, I really shouldn't, but I do.
Why?
Just, why shouldn't I?
A ghost?
Why?
Because I don't think there's...
could just be...
Because I think we die and nothing happens, but I've had supernatural experiences, so...
But they mention in the movie Dr. Alan Carmichael, Charlie Hunnam's character. Or, no, it's Dr. Alan McMichael.
McMichael.
Which is even better. He talks about those photos where they would take pictures and basically capture the sort of like leftover energy from people who may or may not be spirits.
Right.
So it's sort of like finding the science in the supernatural.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with
which again is very much like a Gothic kind of rule where they're kind of playing with like science is the way of the future. So you're kind of walking that fine line between like one foot in the past, which is like it's all religion or supernatural or, you know, unearthly things. And then you have, no, you can actually explain it. There is a way that you can explain everything that's happening, which I thought was really cool. So you can be an atheist and believe in ghosts is what I'm saying.
All right. Well, thanks.
The fucking door handle that was fucking rattling and then like it stopped and then like she goes to get it and rattles again. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's good stuff, huh? Creep you out.
Yeah, I love how he doesn't shy away from the dramatics, you know, like with the ghosts, you know, sometimes ghosts are sort of like hidden in the shadows, but he's like, no, we just like come all out in the open and it's still effective. It's still
That's
scary.
why I appreciate the way they look so much is because they were right out in the forefront. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they could have easily not looked.
Could have been hokey, could have been silly, but it's not.
I don't know if it's the opening scene or if it's like, it's one of the first scenes where Edith is a child and she's laying in her bed and you get that hallway and her mom comes in and, it's not the opening scene because the opening is her mom's funeral.
Yes.
But then, man, that hallway just in itself is creepy as fuck. And then the shadow comes in with the long fingers.
Yep.
And then,
I love those long fingers.
And you had mentioned Doug Jones earlier. That's a testament to his body movement. There's so many moments in this.
Well, I mean, that's his entire life.
His whole career is built on like how he contorts his body.
Even in fucking Hocus Pocus, he was a fucking zombie.
Oh, that's right. He was. That
he actually cut his head off.
Whoa! Talk about method acting, huh?
Yeah, seriously.
Dang, crazy. He's in What We Do in the Shadows. I know that neither of you guys have watched that movie.
I've seen
show.
it.
The show.
I've seen the movie. I haven't.
I meant the show. He plays the like highest, like the most important vampire.
Peter.
Basically. Peter. I honestly I like the movie, but I think the show is way better.
Okay.
But
I'll have to watch it. I mean, I've only heard good things.
It's so funny. So funny. The other monsters in this movie, though, how charming is Thomas Sharp?
I know. It's funny, charming, but also like clearly up to something from the get-go.
Yeah, but if you're a lady, I wouldn't see that.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
Dude, when they're dancing,
I didn't fall for it.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way that candle didn't blow out.
No, that was definitely not right.
No way.
No way.
I don't care how smooth you are, Tom.
Well, he keeps talking about like that's the whole setup is like this candle cannot go out. But if you watch it, like that candle's almost going out every time. And I'm like, Tom, easy.
Easy.
You have one moment to like win their trust and approval. Like, don't fuck this up.
They definitely added that in.
Yeah, that's the most tense part of the movie, watching that fucking candle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's so charming. But yeah, they make it kind of clear early on that he's not, him and Lucille both are not maybe who they appear to be. Zach, since this is the first time you watched it, I want to know what you thought that document was.
The document. Oh, the one that the dad gets. And then he's like, I don't think I didn't really put much thought into it, I guess.
Oh.
I guess I was like, at the moment I remember thinking like, oh, I wonder what that is. Are they going to show it? Are they going to talk about it?
Yeah.
But then after like the next scene where he has to go out and say that he's leaving and break her heart and everything, like I never thought twice about it.
Okay.
What do you think it is?
No, we know what it is. You just fell asleep.
Ah, shit. God
it's their
damn it.
wedding. It's their marriage document that him and Lucille are married.
But they're brother sister.
Yeah, I mean this was the 1880s.
Oh, okay.
You can marry whoever the fuck you wanted.
Was it his? Oh, I thought it was a marriage certificate with one of the other ghosts, the other biddies.
I mean, maybe it was. I just assumed it was their marriage certificate because
I do remember that them saying like, "Oh, he's married." Like that was a thing. I guess I was with Danny thinking that he was married to
maybe
the
it is.
other.
But aren't we
people.
all married to different people, guys? Like, what is the
maybe it is a
problem?
marriage certificate for Enola, but
I mean, I don't know. Like, it definitely could be the other, but
Either way, he's a skeevy little shit.
But he's still just so charming. And then Lucille.
Also, yeah, Lucille. I mean, Oscar-winning Jessica Chastain. Just
I mean, look at how they dressed her.
yeah. And then also she's like, look at this dead butterfly. Look at it being eaten by ants. Isn't it beautiful? It's like, okay.
Well, did you understand that they're talking about the black moths that eat butterflies? Right? So they're the black moths and she's the butterfly.
Ooh.
Parasites feeding on the innocent.
I wish they kind of did more of like there they go in like the close up of the ants like eating.
Yeah.
And I think they do it later with something else. But I kind of wish there was a few more little bits of that dropped in, like those cool close ups. Neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little visual cues
Yeah.
telling us what we already know, but don't want to believe.
I think it's funny too that Thomas and Lucille they're dressed like vampires. They're not vampires.
There was a moment where I thought this was a vampire story the first time I saw it.
Like they definitely
I was like, why
look
are he wearing
vampires.
those dark shades?
Yeah. They're wearing
so
dark,
pale?
they're wearing black and red and they're pale and they're vampires. But I love it.
Yeah, she is. Oh man, Lucille, just what a bitch.
I do want to point out two little things. One is irrelevant. One isn't
Good.
the irrelevant. Lucille and Thomas's last name Sharp is my mom's maiden name.
Well,
Oh,
your
shit.
mom.
So I was like, oh my God, that's so cool.
Is your mom from Crimson
Irrelevant,
Peak?
though. Oh my God, are you Jessica Chastain?
Oh my God.
And Edith's last name, Cushing, which is clearly a nod to
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing? Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why his name like slipped my mind. Peter Cushing was an actor. He was in Star Wars. He was a bad guy in Star Wars, but he's a horror icon. So he played Van Helsing and the Dracula movies with Saruman himself.
Christopher Lee.
He was in The Mummy, where he also fought Christopher Lee. I don't know who that character was, but he was the good guy. But also, more importantly, is he played Sherlock Holmes, which is referenced in this movie. So I feel like there are a lot of like very obvious on the nose references of a character who is opposing these gothic creatures, which is Edith, and then also solving mysteries. So we're kind of like pulling from, at least that's what I kind of gathered from it. We're really pulling from this Peter Cushing reference, which I can totally see Del Toro doing because he's such like
Very
a
relevant
horror nerd. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
I'm just kidding.
one last name, irrelevant. This last name, very, very relevant.
Very relevant.
Yeah. So the first monster that we see is it Edith's mom?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. Yep. Well,
Nope.
Casey's
Yep.
what?
No.
Because
Yes.
I forgot. I was thinking that Edith was Lucille for a second, and I was like, no, we don't see her mom first. We see the other one's mom first. Yes, Edith's mom.
A lot of moms, dads, family.
Dads. Yeah, it's all about family.
Some
hey,
families love each other. Some families love each other.
Hey, why is reverse cowgirl illegal in Alabama?
Why?
Because you don't turn your back on family.
That's funny.
Hey,
One little horror nod is the fact that Edith personally calls out Mary Shelley as being an influence for her.
Yeah.
So I just appreciated the fact that instead of sneaking in, I mean, there are, sort of hidden little references, horror references, but some of them are very overt, like the Changeling and the Peter Cushing reference, and then the Mary Shelley reference.
Yeah. How early on did you guys know that what they were doing? Or did you not catch it until
their plan?
Yeah.
I knew there was something, like, clearly they're trying to get something.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand. Like, they want to get her there. There's money involved.
Right.
I just didn't know why or like what. Because I really did think they were vampires the first time I saw this. I thought we were supposed to believe it was like a gothic ghost story and that they were going to be vampires. But so that threw me off.
Well, in that scene where she's talking with Edith about the butterflies and all that shit, just right there, then you already know that they're plotting something because they have like this conversation where they're like, blah, 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 blah. And she's like in the background. She's like blurred out, but she's right between them in the background, which was
But you also don't know that they've done it before.
That's true.
That's true.
I see, it's weird because I've watched it so many times, I don't remember the first time, but I feel like the dog gives it away because, she's like, I thought you said the dog was dead.
Yeah.
Obviously, it came.
Well,
from the
even
last
before
person
that, when
there.
the dog shows up, he's
yeah,
like,
that's what I mean.
she's like, oh, the dog just, and he's like, the dog couldn't just be wandering. There's not a town for like a day's travel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He like,
So it's like,
I noted that he was like pissed when he saw that dog come up. He was like, there was something going on.
Oh, and then the driver says, he was like, this is my wife. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, you've been married for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Damn, all these little.
But that could also be played off as like he's just not could give a shit, or he just has some issues with memory.
Right.
Don't we all?
Another nod that I noticed. I know we're spending a lot of time on horror references in this movie, and I don't know how much of a nod this was, but The Shining with the bathtub ghost, and even the bathroom there was like all green. Just like the Shining bathroom.
What a great! I didn't even catch on to that.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I did notice the other Shining reference was they live on 237 Allerdale Hall Lane.
Oh,
is it 237?
Like the room? No,
I was gonna say I don't think it is.
Oh, you dick!
Right.
I don't think it is.
I was like, I didn't see that, but okay.
That was like my stupid fake reference.
It was good because you got Zach.
You did get me.
Thank you.
I feel bad for Alan.
Yeah.
Everybody people just like dump him places and they're like, I'll be back for you. Stay here. Don't die. And then they like go and do something else. And then someone else like moves him and they're like, I'll be back. Stay here. Don't die.
It's funny. He's one of those characters that could have easily played the sort of, he's the burly, perfect male figure who comes in to save the day. Mm-hmm. But he's really not. He's actually very interesting. He's got a great backstory. He's clever.
I read that Del Toro, when he was pitching the movie to him to like get him to come aboard, he said like, your character is basically going to be the damsel in distress. And he was like,
Alan?
Oh yeah.
He was like, okay, I'll do it.
McMichael.
Okay.
Yeah.
The hunk.
McMichael.
So yeah, you're absolutely right, Danny. He was like, he's not the hero. He's basically the one that needs saving.
But how much
such a
of
great
a
point.
monster is Thomas Sharp? He didn't even want to stab him.
So that's the thing. So another Gothic literature sort of theme is the sort of like brooding male figure who usually holds a lot of power over the female characters traditionally, but kind of walks this fine line between not really even an anti-hero. He is sort of the hero and the villain, which I really appreciated was the fact that Del Toro was clearly trying to play with all of those like central themes in Gothic fiction and literature and just kind of putting it all on full blast in this movie.
Well, Lucille definitely holds the most power.
Oh, no, totally. But the thing is with him is he has the power, but then kind of like shifts.
I don't think he does.
And then ends up becoming vulnerable.
I don't think he has the power at all to begin with. I think it's always Lucille.
I just mean I agree that Lucille
you mean over Edith?
Is like, yeah, that's what I mean. Because I think Lucille ultimately is like,
but he really likes her.
But that's Casey, you just said like Thomas Sharp is the monster, but is he really? Yes, he is. Because
no, he's not. He's so charming. Look, I can ignore so many red flags.
Just because he fell in love with this one, he also murdered like many of them before.
He fell in love with a woman that wasn't his sister.
He's very broken and weak.
Just because he fell in love with this one, he's still a murderer.
I don't see red flags.
I would say he's like the epitome of toxic masculinity.
There you go.
Where even if like a guy who has toxic masculinity tries to be vulnerable, they somehow still manage to make vulnerability like toxic. You still aren't like good just because you've like changed your like approach.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is like you want to root for him because he is technically helping
I root for
the heroes win. But he's not a good guy. Like he waits till the last second to really not do anything. He burns the papers.
How dare you?
I don't know. He also takes the easy way out. Like he just lets Lucille kill him. Yeah. I don't know.
She stabs him in his pretty face.
Oh, dude. Holy shit.
If Guillermo del Toro is good at anything, he's good at shock value in the most unexpected ways with like body horror.
Oh my God. My fucking jaw dropped and so did his, but oh my God.
Yeah. I think part of what I really liked about this, to me, the ending was very unexpected with all of the slashing and the blood and the, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's so tragic too, because with Lucille, again, I'm not justifying what she did, but clearly they are villains and monsters as the result of years of problem over problem in issue, coming from, it's all family, it's all like romance and family is like kind of like the bones of this story. So like you could even blame it all on the mom, who Lucille like openly says like she was like a jerk. She's just hateful.
Yeah. That's why she
set the standard
killed
for
her.
How exactly. So it's like that's what I love about this movie and the quote unquote monsters, the human monsters, is that you can't justify their killings, you can't justify their actions, but you can understand them. You can see the root of the evil, basically, and like why
trauma.
It soured and rotted, and why it got so bad, which I think makes them so interesting. And during that big showdown between Lucille and Edith, Lucille like wants to kill Edith, but she is so explicit about, she keeps saying, and they even kind of make a joke where she's like, I heard you the first time, where she's like, either you kill me or I kill you.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh God, like she almost like gave up already, And I think they reference this at one point where like Lucille and Thomas already haunt this house. They may as well have been ghosts from the beginning, They're never leaving. All of their actions are horrific. They are haunting this castle before they even die. So
what difference does it make?
Exactly. Like as horrific as they are and as evil as they are, they're so sad. And I think that's what makes it so interesting. Well, and also like brings it back to like why it's Gothic. That's Gothic literature in a nutshell.
Lucille clearly is in love with Thomas.
Yeah.
More so than like if he loves her at all, I don't know. But like she's in love with him because she's like
Yeah.
jealous. You see the jealousy with like Edith and everything. But then when she stabs him in the fucking face, you see right after that she was like, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
You
She
know what I mean?
regretted
Like it was
right
just
away.
like like a crime of passion, whatever. She was just like, what the fuck? And she stabbed him. And then she was like, oh shit, I wish I could take that back because I just made a horrible mistake. And then so by the time she is fighting Edith outside by that big machine, and Danny, you said it seemed like she has given up. She probably did because she's like, fuck it. Like I just killed my brother who I love, like in
the
that
only
weird
thing
way.
she had.
She's not
the only
killing
thing she
Edith
had
for a cause. She's killing it as like revenge or like I have nothing else to
but also
do.
Like she said, she said either I kill you or you kill me or whatever. She's basically like, fuck it. If I die, I die because I have nothing left to live for anyways. So just whatever.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. Did you think that it was Thomas that killed Edith's dad?
Oh yeah. I didn't think it was Lucille because they really did throw me off with when you go back and watch it the second time, you see that it looks like a guy, but clearly Lucille has her hair up.
Yeah. I didn't think it was Lucille. I definitely didn't think it was Lucille. Could have been Thomas, but I actually thought it was somebody because the dad had hired that detective guy. I thought it might have been somebody that was like hired, just like a hitman kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, I didn't think it was
That's the
Lucille.
thing. You know you're getting thrown off because you know they're not giving you the obvious because the first thing you're going to think of is Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Who else would it be? Just given the information you have at that point in the movie.
Yeah. That part of the movie is pretty gnarly too.
And talk about brutal kills.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Oh my God.
He slipped though. That's cool.
He slipped 7 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really bothered me. As impressive as it was, that wasn't the kind of gore, like, okay, to keep bringing it back to the Evil Dead Rise trailer, like, that's the sort of gore where, like, I have to look away. Like, that is just freaking me out. Whereas this one is, like, disturbing, but so impressive in terms of, like, the practical effects that you can't look away because you're like, oh my God, how did they do that? Like, it is so good. Like, it's so, again, like, grounded in reality, but which is a reminder of how grotesque reality can be, which I think Del Toro is really good at, of like highlighting the most macabre moments of like things that we can actually experience. Yeah. Which is what I think freaks me out more, even beyond like the visceral, like visual part of it. And is that the first time we technically meet? I mean, we meet the monsters, like the Lucille and Thomas, but
that's
like
the first time they hurt that that
like they
hurt
actually
somebody.
are monstrous. Yeah. Okay.
I also really love the part where I don't know if this is exactly what she says, but she walks in on them like making out and Blumpkins and whatever. No.
What if that's what they walked in on?
The Victorian Blumpkin.
She goes out to use the outhouse
in the fucking chamber pot. Yeah. She walks in and they're making out, and then she gets to the banister. They're like wrestling around or whatever. They get to the banister, and she goes, "Wait, what is she says? Like, but you're not his sister." And then she says, "I am," and she pushes her.
Oh
off
yeah,
the fucking
they
banister.
give you like 1 second for the audience to believe, like, oh, the twist is that
that
they're
not
lovers. It's like no,
right.
they are.
They're disgusting.
Yeah. I also I love that, like, with this kind of story is like, well, who were the monsters? Are they the ghosts or the people? But there's literally a scene where Edith screams. She's like, "You're monsters, both of you!" And I was like, I made a note of that. I was like, oh, there it is. That's good for our podcast.
It's right out
the
there.
monsters. Yeah.
Thanks, Edith.
Yeah.
What about like the set design of this movie?
Oh, shut up.
Oh, shut
That's the
up.
anti-monster.
I
That's
told
the hero
you.
of the story.
I spent 2 hours after I watched this movie trying to figure out how I can make a Gothic Victorian house for myself.
But it won't be complete
Well, like,
without all of the gushing red clay coming out of the
I
walls and the
love
floor.
that
was
too.
cool. That was neat.
One thing that I love about Guillermo del Toro is he's a maximalist, you know, like he puts everything out there on like the biggest scale. Like even when he does like Hellboy, you know, like that doesn't need to be as good as it is. But the Hellboy movies are really good, especially I love part 2 a lot. But even in something like this like little gothic horror movie, like just like little details, like this weird red substance clay, you know, like it's just all so extra, but it serves the plot. Like it serves the visuals and it serves the everything. It's just, he's so good at letting the visuals complement the story and vice versa. Ugh, it's just so good.
So speaking of red clay, what, if anything, did the machine really have to do with the movie? Was there any kind of like... That was why he was
going around, because they're trying to sell the clay and they're trying to harvest it, basically. And so that's why he was going to all of those cities, was to try to get people to invest in that machine so that they can harvest the clay for them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I understand that part.
Okay.
I guess I didn't know... like what the machine had to do really with the rest of it. Because, I mean, that could have been anything. They could have been going to different cities to find capital to do anything.
Well, because it's Crimson Peak and the clay is red.
I have a theory.
So the Crimson... Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why, because the clay rises up in the wintertime or whatever, right? And makes everything red. Okay, so that's just...
So it's just another way to highlight the clay.
Gotcha.
I think on a more dramatic level, maybe, is because the dad kind of calls Thomas out as being like, you have soft hands, like you don't work. And the idea is like Thomas and Lucille sort of, they always say it's not the easy way out, like they kill people, but like in terms of how they do things, they take the easy way out. You know, they're not really putting any work in, they're just manipulating people. Whereas like this machine kind of represents like labor and like just working for your money and like making an honest living, which by the end you can see like he's the one kind of pushing that avenue. Like we could make honest money this way.
Oh yeah, he's still trying to actually make a machine.
Exactly. Like he's trying to do it, but he's sort of stuck between like Lucille's methods and this method. And I think that's just what I kind of got from it, was like that just kind of represents like even at the end, like he burns himself, like he's trying to work this machine to be like, I love Edith. I want to move forward on this other path, but like, it's just not in his cards.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
It's a tragic story.
So tragic.
So tragic. It's so sad. That was the alternate title for this. It was so tragic.
So tragic.
Do you guys want to talk about our favorite reveals?
Sure.
So a few that I have written down are Edith's mother floating down the hallway at the beginning. The door handle rattle, which was cool. Lucille playing the piano right at the beginning. The bathtub ghost. I don't know who that was coming out of the bathtub.
I think that's mom.
Okay.
Yeah, that's mom.
Is it with the axe or with the, I keep calling it an axe?
With the
cleaver.
Yeah.
Oh, with the cleaver. Okay.
Yeah.
The ghost that comes out of the floor and is in like the linen closet.
Yeah, that's one of the ghosts of the women that they killed.
And then I would say when he tells her why it's called Crimson Peak. I don't know if that's really revealed, but I was like, oh,
I like that. Ties everything up.
Yeah. It's kind of like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that you see, where he's watching and he sees himself on the TV. He's like, "Hup, hup."
Funny.
It's like when they say to the name of the movie, it's like, "Hup, hup."
Yep.
But yeah, that's what I noticed. What about you guys?
Well, my favorite reveal is just the very beginning, the ghost mom, because like I said, I just love the ghosts in this movie and they're just perfect. And so I was very happy that that's what they look like. So ghost mom, that's my favorite.
Oh, I did want to mention, Zach, you pointed out the first time we see Edith's mom as the ghost coming down the hallway. And I was like, what the fuck does that remind me of? And it's the ghost from Insidious. The woman with the black veil.
Oh, yeah.
Which freaks me out. I don't know why that scares me, but it actually genuinely frightens me. That whole, like, if they had just done a movie I guess they did just do a movie about that. But if, like, it was specifically focused on that throughout, they would have gotten me.
Yeah, it's creepy.
My favorite reveal, though, is the ghost coming out of the floor, which I think is the first time Edith really... she sees a ghost, but this is the first time she confirms that a ghost is in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the sound and the visuals, just everything combined was just like really spooky. But my runner-up for reveals, not a monster reveal, but one of my favorite reveals is actually Edith's cosplay of Winona Ryder from Edward Scissorhands. When she wears her white gown and the blonde hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she's a fan. Like, she's a Tim Burton fan. And I just thought that was really neat.
Very cool.
Really ahead of her time.
Yeah. 110 years.
Yeah. Yeah. A few years.
Dude, it is time for the How I Met Your Monster conspiracy theory of the week.
Oh, my God. Hit it.
Telling me that NASA is going to kill the President of the United States with an earthquake.
Not exactly the kind of thing a Secret Service agent can like just throw himself on top of.
The whole Vietnam War was fought over a bet. Howard Hughes lost to Aristotle Onassis.
So third issue this year, conspiracy theory.
Okay, you guys are going to have to help me out here because I just came up with this just now.
Of course. That's right. I can't wait.
Okay. This has been stewing in your brain for a while.
It's been stewing.
So now you have to like really just get it out. Verbalize.
So Tim Burton was actually inspired by Crimson Peak, by Edith, for Edward Scissorhands, for Winona Ryder's character.
Because this was the 1880s.
Well, no. So
because that doesn't make any sense.
Vincent Price's, I don't know who his character's name is in Edward Scissorhands, but his castle on the hill, not unlike Allerdale Hall, is exposed to the snow and outside. So it is being kind of taken over by nature.
Yeah. Fucking Vincent Price, he's the inventor. And you know who was an inventor? Thomas Sharp.
Thomas Sharp. He literally had a room of inventions.
Yeah, he died.
The inventor is Thomas Sharp.
Yeah.
He's just
his ghost?
He's his ghost.
Yeah. Because Lucille died and he had no other companions and he grew up alone. He needed to sort of supplement that companionship by creating another person. And because he had such a bad relationship with his parents, he thought he could be the father of someone and created Edward.
But this is all coming together because
it's all
we all know that
Seamless.
ghosts still age, but just slower. And so
everyone knows
by the time you get to the early 90s,
100 years later,
Thomas Sharp,
age.
He's Vincent Price's age, and he's
I think we even have time on our side because Edward Scissorhands, you could say when Winona Ryder's character is telling the story, that's in the 90s, and maybe in her past, it's actually set earlier.
Oh my! I forgot that that's how Edward Scissorhands was set up, like telling the story because she's old.
So do ghosts age normally?
And
now?
who is a writer and a storyteller but Edith Cushing?
Oh my gosh!
Just like Winona, and she's telling the bedtime story. Guys, they exist. Not only do they exist in the same universe, these are the same characters.
Yeah.
And not only that, but this starts out in Buffalo, New York, which is very close to Sleepy Hollow, New York.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Very close.
Which has
Sleepy
Christina
Hollow.
Ricci, who looks a lot like Winona in Edward Scissorhands.
They have blonde hair too. So is Christina Ricci in Sleepy Hollow also the same person?
Well, that was like the style back then. That was the trendy.
So there's like
okay. So I'm out of line.
Casey, you are out of line.
Okay.
You need to step back.
Yeah, I'm back.
This theory is flawless. This conspiracy theory. Is it a conspiracy?
I don't think any of them have ever been conspiracies.
This plot
it is now
against this story, this conspiracy is flawless. There are no holes. But there is a hole in the ceiling.
So, conspiracy theory, rock solid.
So what is the conspiracy theory? The fact that they exist in the same universe?
Sure.
It's whatever you want it to be.
What did I gather from that?
That seems to be like the common theme to our conspiracy theory.
It's the only conspiracy theory that we
They
go with.
exist in the
this
same
person,
universe.
you know what? This person looks like this person. They must be the same person. That's always what we've done.
Well, okay. So now it's time for a segment that we like to call The Real Monster.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man.
You're a monster.
I'm not the monster here. You are. You and the rest of that fairy tale trash poisoning my perfect world. Now tell me, where are the others?
Eat me.
So first of all, Mr. Cushing, because he's a fucking liar.
Man, I like
because
Mr.
he
Cushing.
says that in America, huh?
I like him.
Oh, well, he said that in America, we bank on effort and not privilege. And that is bullshit.
Bullshit.
True.
So Jessica Chastain, Lucille, when it first shows her and she's playing the piano, it is definitely something that when I was 10 years old, I thought that I could play on the piano. So she's just like,
Nice.
like, yeah, that's all. Her the first song she plays on the piano, because the second one is nice, but the first one, yes, sounds like a 10-year-old who thinks they know how to play piano.
Okay. Danny, what do you got?
So the real monster, I think, is just their mother.
Okay. Going to the root of
I think
all evil.
she's the reason why this is just like all this shit is happening because of bad parenting. And I think you just need to spend a little time hanging out with your kids so that you don't fuck everything up.
Remember that, Zach.
Yeah. Let this be a lesson to you, Zach.
Yeah.
No, and then the real monster is ornate Victorian gowns that have turtlenecks.
Oh, especially the ones that you sleep in.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
specifically
that's
ones that
crazy.
have turtlenecks on them.
Oh, yeah.
Unnecessary.
I was thinking about like when she would get up in the middle of the night. I'm like, how are you sleeping in those puff sleeves, girl?
She's like, let me just put on a few more layers.
Yeah.
And I'm good to go. Oh, this is comfortable.
It's funny because like I love the dresses and stuff, but can you imagine actually having to wear all of that bullshit all the time? Oh my God, how terrible. I love it when people say like, oh, I was born in the wrong time. I wish I would have been born back then. I'm like, no, you fucking don't.
It was just so
Like,
easy to get cholera, though, and just
Like, do you want to shit in a fucking chamber pot and then throw it out the window? Or do you want to be the person that's outside of the window when somebody throws their chamber pot out? No.
Well, question about that, because I did mention an outhouse earlier. They had a tub with running water. So do you think they had a toilet?
Oh, maybe.
No, you just poop in the tub.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you know where the toilets were? Those big clay bins in the cellar.
In the
You just
basement with the
poop
bodies in them.
You have to actually climb in, so you're just covered in red clay every time you go to the
Didn't somebody
bathroom.
like float up at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the poop does.
That's where they were
If
putting
you,
bodies.
If you mess around with it enough.
Okay, maybe not that time, but I'm talking like some people think that they should have been, that they would wish that they would have been born hundreds of years ago. And no, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I know. We romanticize the aesthetics.
Yes, especially
That's it.
because they're on TV. But like, imagine how all of those people smelled.
Yeah, you just want to be an extra.
Yeah,
In
on
a movie.
on the set of Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Yeah, can you imagine how disgusting it was?
Yeah.
Like no deodorant, people just peeing and pooping everywhere.
Leprosy.
Yeah. Yeah, the leprosy alone.
Do you know that people with leprosy had to wear bells? I think that this is so funny. Did you know that?
I don't think they needed
Really?
the bell, but
No, they were forced to wear bells because they wanted people to be able to hear them coming down the street so they wouldn't have to look at them.
it's like, Jim, I could smell you. You don't need the bell.
But how horrific is that? Like, oh God, I hear the bell. There's a leper coming. I better turn around.
Like, I used to like bells. Fucking leprosy.
Zach, do you have a real monster?
Yeah, I do. My real monster is home insurance because It's a pain in the ass, and they should have had their roof fixed, but instead they just had a giant fucking hole in their roof with snow and leaves coming in. Everything they were cold all the time. They probably had their home insurance. They put in a claim and they couldn't get the fucking people to do what they were supposed to do. And so, also cars without windows and doors.
But
they
that
go
was
out
a
in
nice
the rain.
new car.
They go out in the rain and they get in that car and like, there's still like rain, like coming in the side. They're going to go to that party and their like tuxes are going to be like soaked on the legs. And then they have to fucking do the waltz and not put out a candle.
And they're still cold.
It's funny that you say all that. The fact how many issues would have been avoided had they just like had windows. Like if that was a nice skylight. The reason, so Lucille and Thomas were just cold all the time. So what do you do when you're cold? You like find ways to be warm. Well, there's no way to be warm, but body heat is like the best way to.
That's why they fucked each other.
So like, let's hug. I was like, well, we're hugging. Might as well have sex. You know, and like all of a sudden you have an incestuous relationship, and then you start killing people.
Yeah.
All of this would have been avoided with a skylight.
You're right. It is home insurance.
Yeah,
it's home
insurance is the real monster.
You're totally right.
Yeah.
Zach nailed it.
Okay, do you guys have anything else to add about Crimson Peak before we wrap up this episode?
Do I? I got nothing. Although I did want to point out.
So there is one more thing.
Correct me if I'm wrong or if this is just convenient, but when Dr. Alan McMichael gets stabbed and he goes out and Thomas is like, where can I stab you? You know, make sure you don't die. He technically could have stayed in the house and like bled out and died, even if he faked it. But he actively goes out into the snow. Now, this may be the dumbest thing that I've ever asked, maybe. But do you think there is something to the fact that it was so cold that he could have done something to like prevent bleeding or done something to maybe not, well, he's not cauterizing the wound, but something to help with the blood loss by being out in such extreme cold temperatures and that he actually went out there willingly?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that...
Because the second he gets stabbed, he walks out. He's like, I need to get out of here. And we know he's a doctor, so obviously he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I'm sure that part of it is, too, like, he would have a better chance if he just left. If he stayed in that house, they're going to make sure that he's dead somehow.
But
fair. Aside from that, yeah, I mean, when you're cold, I feel like if I were stabbed and then I was out in like, negative temperatures... I'd be more upset about the negative temperatures. I wouldn't be thinking about the fact that I was stabbed anymore, you know?
Well, yeah, if you get a cut on your hand, you don't run warm water over it because then it's just going to keep bleeding more.
Yeah.
And so
you want to get yourself to Allerdale Hall in the middle of winter.
Stick your hand in the snow.
Throw yourself in the snowstorm.
Yep.
Okay.
Good point, Danny. Good point. Casey, good pick, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, great pick.
Good pick.
Thanks.
But this was just one of 3 ghost stories that we have in store for you all. Danny, what's our next ghost story going to be?
Oh, God, now the pressure's on.
That's right, because it's your turn, Danny. What are we watching next week?
I've been giving this a lot of thought, and I decided, given the time of year and given the epic scale of this movie that we had just seen, I thought the best way to complement a great ghost story is to tell one of the most beloved ghost stories and take a trip out into the middle of nowhere, closed off for the season,
Is
and
it a
watch
ghost story?
Stephen King's and Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We're finally tackling The Shining.
I was hoping that was going to be your pick.
I really I've been wanting to talk about this movie. I've been wanting to watch it. And I had some other options, and I was like, some of them make sense, some of them are fitting, but every time I kept leaning into something else, The Shining is just, you can't beat The Shining. It's just the best.
It is. It's pretty good.
So, yeah, we'll be going to the Overlook Hotel in our next episode in the middle of winter, which is kind of perfect.
Ooh, cool.
Because that's when things start getting really bad for the Torrance family.
Okay, so make sure to join us for The Shining. Hey, where can our listeners find you guys on social media?
I'm on Instagram at WolfMotherCasey.
And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at my name, Danny Salem. Just Danny, DANNYSALEMME, 2 M's like the candy, melt in your butt, not in your hands.
Wonderful. And you can find me on social media at Zach Quinsick. Make sure to follow the show on Facebook and Instagram at How I Met Your Monster and on Twitter at I Met Your Monster. And if you're not already subscribed to the show, find us on your favorite podcast. Where are you listening to this right now? If you're not already subscribed, just hit the subscribe button on wherever you're listening right now. Yeah. Just find that little button.
Please find us. We're lost. You need to find us. Please find us.
I'm in the hedge maze at the Overlook.
Oh, yeah. All right. So we look forward to The Shining. And that's all we have for today. So thank you all for listening. Now go meet some monsters.
Beware the monsters of Crimson Peak.
Oh, that was good.
Beware when the time comes. Beware.
Oh.
When the time comes. Beware Crimson Peak.
There you go.